Hi guys, Angela here to answer a question on description that I actually get asked quite often, and it has to do with our character's appearance. And the question is, when I have to describe my character's physical details, their face, the clothing that they're wearing, their body type, things like that, do I have to go into detail or can I just share a few bits of information through dialogue? It's a great question, and I think one that a lot of people wrestle with because it's challenging to write a character's physical description sometimes. And sometimes we're tempted to just sort of not say very much at all about our characters and hope that readers will fill in the blanks. But the reality is, it is important for us to write some information about what our characters look like. We want to build that image in their mind. We want to steer them in the right direction. But also we want to convey details that matter because it's going to help readers connect to our characters. So the question becomes, can we do that effectively just through dialogue? And I would say no, I don't believe we can. Like all things to do with writing, often the best course is to use several different techniques. Dialogue is certainly one, but there are other things that we can do to deliver details about our character, like the point of view character's observations. Whether that's the character themselves observing things about them and how they look, or it's a character, the point of view character observing something about another character. Sometimes those observations can be really helpful to convey how someone looks. Another thing that we want to use is action, showing our characters in action, doing something in the scene is a way to deliver that information through movement, which will make sure that we're not damaging the pace through these big clumps of description. So if we can figure out how to use action, dialogue, point of view, observation, and put these things together, that's usually the magic. Now, the question we should be asking is not how to deliver this information, but what information is the most important to share with readers. And the reality is some details work harder than others. If I were to use an example of a character who maybe she's at some sort of event, a function that's being held at a bar, and I wanted to describe her to readers, if I were just rushing through it and just thinking about basic details that I could share, I might talk about how she's wearing a yellow dress and she's short and she's got high heels on and her hair is pulled back into a clip and things like that. But it's not very compelling. It's not really going to interest readers. But if I choose other details and describe the character as they're moving, showing their actions in the scene, it becomes much more compelling. So in this case, maybe what I would do is describe that character crossing the room to perhaps a friend who's standing at the bar, and the friend is watching her, it's her point of view, and she's watching this character come towards her, and she's wobble walking, right? She's a little unsteady on her feet, on her heels, because she's not used to wearing them. And as she's crossing the floor, she's constantly jerking at her clothes and playing with her belt and straightening out her hem and touching her neckline and trying to put hair that's escaping her clip back in place. And when I describe her doing these things about her appearance, all of a sudden it becomes more compelling because I'm showing that she's not comfortable, that she doesn't normally dress this way. She's not very steady on her feet in high heels. And these things cause readers to ask questions. Why is she so uncomfortable? Why is she wearing a dress when that's not normally what she dresses like? What kind of pressure is happening in this scene where she has to wear a dress? And when readers ask these mental questions about what we write, they act as hooks pulling them in deeper. They want to know the answers to those questions. And that's exactly what good description should do. It shows that character's state of mind, it causes readers to ask questions, and that's just perfect. Now we can certainly use dialogue to enhance this scene and provide more details about what this character is wearing. We just need to make sure that the dialogue is natural sounding. It's realistic. So something that this character would not say when she reaches her friend is, "What do you think of my yellow dress?" And the reason why she wouldn't say this is yellow is something that's obvious. Her friend is right there. She can see she's wearing a yellow dress. So when you use a detail like yellow, it's for the reader. And that's called author intrusion. So we want to avoid that. Instead, the character might say something like, "Okay, be honest. How bad is it?" Because she's nervous. She's uncomfortable. She doesn't like wearing a dress. So she might ask her friend that. Or she might say, tell me the truth. Do I look like a banana being strangled by a belt? Is that how I look right now? And again, these pieces of dialogue provide a little bit more information about how she's dressed and how she's feeling. The dialogue could also come from her friend, who maybe they have a close relationship. Her friend is a little salty and sarcastic, and she might say, you know, I'm going to give you points for wearing high heels because now you're actually tall enough that you might be able to actually see the bartender and order a drink, but you have got to stop fidgeting because it looks like you have a rash or something, and people are going to think that you need to see a doctor about something embarrassing. So she could say something like that, tongue in cheek, funny, that again reveals details about this character and her behavior and her nervousness and things like that. Also, her height. So there are ways to use dialogue, but it works best when we use other techniques as well. Another question that often we think about when it comes to description is how much should we use? And I think that's probably the heart of what this question is really about. And what we can do to sort of help ourselves in that regard is to look to our genre. Readers have expectations based on their genre. Some genres, they go more deep into physical descriptions than others. Historical fiction or historical romance would be two examples of genres that do that. So look at the genre that you're writing, look what other authors in that genre are doing, and that's going to guide you to what those readers are expecting and making sure that what you're writing is aligning. I hope this was really helpful, and have a great day and happy writing.